여러분 안녕하세요. 저는 산드라미니 강입니다. 저 SMK 대표 말레고 그만두라고 있습니다. 이번에 프레젠테이션 한국말로 하면 너무 어려우니까 그냥 영어로 할게요. 다음에 아마 한국어로 할 수 있는데 이번엔 Hello everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here today and to share with you my experience of building a sustainable fashion brand in Korea. My name is Sandra Meidye Kang, and I'm the director and designer of the vegan and eco-friendly dancewear brand SMK. I might have lost you. Not with the term vegan and eco-friendly, that's why you're here today, but with the term of dancewear. Does anyone know what is that about? Does anyone do yoga or Pilates here? Yeah? Okay. Yes. So you may have seen few dancewear brands among all the yoga wear brands in shops. Dancewear items are actually more suitable to dance such as ballet, contemporary, or any specific type of dance. I specialize in ballet wear. But most of dancewear items are totally suitable for yoga and Pilates class, and as well for daily life. I won't be talking about tutu today, even though I love it. But I would rather share with you the numerous challenges I faced and still face with a sustainable business model in a very niche market such as dancewear, where eco-textile, environment, human and other species protection didn't reach as much as fashion in general. The story is, I was running a fashion women's wear brand since 2012 on very, very small scale. Such a small scale that I was doing my own production in my one-room apartment, which didn't have any table. I still remember sewing my collection on my bed. So I don't know if you ever tried sewing a collection with a sewing machine on a bed. It's like, it gives a nice bounce, right? But it's very uncomfortable. Step by step, the brand changed its name into SMK, which are my actual initial, and changed its original concept into Eco Dancewear. Because in 2014, I read a book, The Power of Restraint from Pierre Rabhi. And maybe this picture isn't talking very much about the power of this book. I promise this book isn't boring, but it actually gave me the power to question myself about what was going wrong in the world and take this responsibility on me and on my scale. Actually, this picture is really funny because it was really taken in 2014 and I was really reading this book for the very first time. And I didn't know that it's gonna change my life. This book actually got me to worry about four major subjects: speciesism, ethicality, the degradation of our environment, and our culture of waste. Speciesism. On a very personal level, I quite never understood why do we use other species for our own comfort when some other solutions are actually available. Another book that got me totally into anti-speciesism is Animal Liberation from Peter Singer, that I would definitely recommend to anyone interested about the animal cause. And since everything is linked, one cause leaded to another, I started to really care about the way we treat each other as human beings. Ethicality. I'd like to remind you the tragedy of the Rana Plaza factory in Bangladesh that has killed 1,134 people who are working for big fast fashion companies in terrific conditions. We cannot accept that. And like Gandhi said, there is no beauty in the finest clothes if it makes hunger and poverty. As a wealthy country consumer, I think we can all take a step back and think about our lifestyle and its consequences to others in order to change the way and the rhythm we consume goods. Degradation of environment. Talking about fashion working people and other people living in their neighborhood, long working hours are not the only concern. Their health is also exposed to very hard conditions. Coloration of textile, chemical modification, unhealthy dust, old machineries. And what we need to acknowledge now is that what is harming human is also harming our planet. Fashion industry is actually responsible of 20% of the water degradation in the world and 10% of CO2 emission. We were warned in 2018 by the UN population found that the water will begin to miss by 2050. We also increased atmospheric CO2 concentration by more than a third since the Industrial Revolution began, and we need action to stop this catastrophic process. And we, fashion designers, we have a responsibility. We have a voice to speak, and we have hands to act. Culture of waste. Here is a very special point I want to highlight. Trash, or what we consider to be trash. In the fashion industry, 85% of clothes end up every year in landfill in America. Without speaking about what every designer or every major brand trash out as textile or remaining scraps in production. Believe me, I've seen like bags and rolls in my sample maker room that was destined to the trash, just because designers consider it useless or not trendy anymore. I just exposed all the hot potatoes that have led me to recreate my Dancewear brand on different foundations. This wasn't easy and still is not, but that's very surprising how creative we can be when we decide to forget what we know and embrace struggles to make them become exciting challenges. For keeping my words and respecting the new values I was bearing in my life, I created the 6 pillars of the brand. Every action we take in SMK aligns with this statement. First pillar, the brand SMK is entirely vegan. We don't use any textile that could come from animal. No fur, of course, no leather, but also no wool, no mohair, no cashmere, no silk. This looks not that hard to do for a dancewear brand, but actually there's some item I couldn't really touch yet. For example, ballet slippers or stage shoes are all made with leather undersole. We engage into local and ethical production. Being able to have a relationship directly with the person doing my clothes, cutting, assembling, printing, embroidering, was something that became essential to the brand. There's no one in the production process that I don't know, and by this way I ensure fair wages, high quality, and good energy within the clothes. All my producers are in Seoul, and this allows to have a lower carbon impact when shipping the good after production from factory to my showroom. This is the picture of actually my sample maker, Kim Song-hee. Her atelier is in Shindang-dong. I've been working with her since 2012, and I love the relationship we have built through time. Like, it's a real relationship of trust and friendship. Nevertheless, I did face challenges to find local partners to work with. Due to the technique I wanted to use, sport gears don't require some machinery than ballet skirts, for example, and due to the small quantity I wanted to produce. But with time, passions, and persistent research, we can all find local partners to work with. Eco-friendly and innovative textile. Here is maybe the biggest struggle as an eco-friendly, sports-oriented designer to find textiles that are respectful of environment, but at the same time, functional enough to match the customer's need in terms of performance. I think without solid textile education, it's very hard for a designer to find the right textile for a sports-oriented product. I didn't have education on that matter, and I cannot learn by myself, and I'll be learning forever. It's like crazy time investing, definitely. But one thing I learned is like, whatever big is a trademark or a company, we should never give up to introduce our work. They may not directly work with us, but they may redirect us to some local seller that would work with our quantities. And the more designer will refuse to buy random cotton, polyester, or nylon textiles, the more the available green textile on the market will flourish with always better quality. Indeed, there's a lot of items in dancewear I couldn't touch yet. Ballet skirts, for example. I didn't find the right material, recycled polyester mesh, for making my ballet skirts. And I won't use polyester if it isn't recycled one. Cutting our waste and cutting fossil fuel is absolutely a must nowadays. I'm also aware of the polemic around recycled synthetic fibers due to the fact that they shed microfiber when washed. I have heard it and I understand it. But honestly, nowadays, what other sustainable enough option do we have for sportswear? It's a real question. Donations. Let's be honest, I'm far from being rich and my brand isn't financially stable. But if the brand wanted to be deeply engaged into animal cause, it should be in some way by also supporting local associations that are working hard to raise awareness on the cruelty other species are facing. That's how, a few years ago, I came up with this donation system. As 1,000won per item, which is, for American people in the room, $0.84, to be donated to a local animal protection association. I choose Kara to be our beneficiary every 6 months. I do believe that the amount given is not really important, but the resolution to take action makes a real difference. Pillar number 5, recycling process. Customer packaging always includes plastic, papers, and whole things that needs to be produced for the only aim to be thrown out after they serve their unique mission. In order to give a second birth to all the textile scrap, ribbon, button, zipper, and else I found in the trash of my sample makeup, and even trash I created myself, I decided to recycle them into customer packaging, reusable customer packaging. Actually, it's very interesting what we can do from trash. Trashes are raw material and can be really considered as very valuable. I brought a few goodies to show you if you would like to have a look after. So the packaging are all made from textile scrap. It's really cute, and when shipping the goods, it allows to have 0 plastics in all our shipments. Number 6, try it circular. We hear a lot nowadays about circular economy and how to make a closed-loop business. Sportswear and underwear are more intimate and for so harder to integrate in a closed-loop system. Nevertheless, we can all call our creativity and try some potential closer-looped system. That's how I came up with this idea. The local customer who bought SMK Dancewear are allowed to bring back the old pieces they don't want to wear anymore, or that are just too old to be wear anymore. The kind of item they would have thrown out if they don't bring it back. In exchange, a discount coupon is offered if they want to purchase a new item. The customer item has 2 possibilities of rebirth. First possibility, if the item is still good, then it can be upcycled in a kind of second-hand item. Possibility number 2, if the item is really old and we can't do much about it, then it's going to be dismantled and turned out into upcycled and dismantled into reusable customer packaging. I think on a customer perspective, this kind of system makes you feel really taken care from the beginning to the end of the purchase item life, which means there's a real relationship of trust that grows between the brand and the customer. To sum up this presentation, I would just say that we can't use the same pattern of developing a brand like back in the 80s. And because we're creative, we must push ourselves to think out of the box. And based on this idea, I would like to talk about what it is to be successful as a fashion designer. I don't think success of a brand can be assessed on the amount of money it earns. Of course, we need to live. But this shouldn't be the direct indicator of success. So how about to review our indicators and things that maybe respect the environment, at least minimizing our impact, respecting other species, collaborating truly with the unique goal to grow together are the new factor of success. Thank you very much.